Trade war is spreading to Hollywood and the film industry. Beijing is putting new restrictions on the number of American movies that can be shown in China. Despite declines in recent years, China is still Hollywood's second biggest market, even though American movies only account for about 5% of total sales at China's box office. So joining me now for more analysis, film producer and author Chris Fenton. Chris, thanks for being with us. This is an interesting aspect. Hollywood, a big industry, a favored industry. China has been important to it. How is this going to affect Hollywood, do you think?
Yeah, it's sort of amazing, too, because I'm down shooting a movie with my colleagues at Lone Media down in Nashville, which is going to be a fully USA-made production. So obviously it would be something that might get hit by these Chinese tariffs. But the fact of the matter is we have been losing that market quite a bit recently. Probably since 2019, when we had the last Avengers movie do almost 750 million just in that box office alone. But if you go back to a movie that I was an executive on, Iron Man 3, back in 2013, we did $20 million opening day, and there were only 18,000 screens back then. If you look at Minecraft, a much larger IP, it's at about 16.5 million there after 7 full days of screening in a market that has 90,000 screens now. So the amount of impact that this is going to have, at least currently on Hollywood, is going to be quite mitigated. It's just going to make a lot of headlines.
Yeah, all right. Well, that's somewhat encouraging. And Iron Man 3 was awesome, of course. But I don't want to ask about, all these issues become part of our larger cultural world, cultural war. And President Trump, not a fan of Hollywood in many ways. There's a huge escalation between these two biggest economies. Do you think Trump is open to the concerns of those in Hollywood who are going to be very severely impacted by this move?
Well, I would argue politically, there's not a lot of great allies for him in Hollywood overall, nor is he a great ally for Hollywood, even though, quite frankly, he is a bit of a Hollywood star himself. But the fact is, Hollywood is considered the best in the world at making the craft of whether it's television or film or other forms of content. We have the best tradesmen. We have a lot of blue collar, below the line workers, the kind of workers that he claims he wants to help. We have a lot of offshoring of our production to places like New Zealand, Australia, Europe, Canada, et cetera. So he's probably looking towards the fact that there are a lot of people that can be employed and should be employed that are the best in the world and are a part of the manufacturing complex that he's trying to bring back to this country. So I'd like to think he thinks larger than just the political issues between him and Hollywood and thinks about the impact on workers.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, part of the value of America's economy is it's right, the soft, the stuff like the culture exports that we have, including Hollywood, and it would be good to have. Is this a change in, I don't know, in the way stories are told even? This does seem like the end of an era of American engagement with the world. Hollywood often reflects things like that. I know that's kind of a vague question, but you're a smart guy. What do you think of the impact of the trade war? Should it continue on what Hollywood sees in our country and around the world?
Well, I think it's sort of two-pronged. Number one is with China, if we want to spread the idea of the aspirational quality of democracy inside a communist country, there's no better soft power way to do that than fantastic movie making, right? And Xi Jinping knows that, and it's always why there's been very strong protectionist policies in terms of what he was allowing in from what he considered were U.S. propaganda machines, the U.S. studios. So that's one aspect, and that's sort of the global aspect. But if you look at content in general, and you look at cities like Nashville and Charlotte and Atlanta and various other places around the country in combination with LA, you're starting to see this push towards just straight entertainment, things that can be talked about around the water cooler, like in the days of everybody watching MASH or Cheers or Star Wars. This idea of trying to bifurcate coastal sort of markets from the inner parts of the country and having two different kinds of content just hasn't been working economically. And Hollywood's now realizing it and realizing there's financial incentives to try to placate all sides.
That's great. That's so interesting. Really appreciate you coming on and talking to us with that perspective. What movie are you working on?
It's a comedy called Bad Counselors. We're shooting in North Carolina and in Nashville. The entity that's making it is Lone Media. And the fact is, it reminds me of how great we are at making movies here in the USA. So we're doing it all with USA crew, USA below the line, and also all the talent.
Very cool. Very cool. Can't wait to see it. Film producer, author Chris Fenton, thanks very much.
Thanks for having me.
Just a reminder here, thank you. Disney is the parent company of ABC News. They're impacted as well.